John Collector. Wait, is this the same guy? Oh, they changed actors. Okay, hang on, I got this. John Collectioner. Hello, and welcome to Foot the Bill, where we audit your favorite media. My name is Trey, and when last we played I Spy Horrible Things with this spider nest man, he had just finished kidnapping Arkin after a long, stressful night of redecoration at the Chase household. But now he's back. He's got nightclubs, he's got hotels, all redecorated according to his not at all insane standards. He's also got a new career, apparently. Must be nice. Last time we determined that Johnny Collect-ATHON could not in fact afford the Collector. Maybe his new line of work will help him afford this beloved sequel. But before we dive in, we need to discuss the rules.
You're not listening. Don't forget the rules.
No utilities get charged for. All prices are determined in the year depicted. A news flash on screen at the beginning of the film tells us it's 2011. Adele and LMFAO were topping the charts. Friday Night Lights was ending, and Minecraft had just come out. Not that any of that matters to John Collect-ATHON. Can Spider-Man with his spider army, yep, there's a spider army, afford to remodel several large buildings on the budget of an academic bug guy? Or do his plans go belly up as his bank account goes bust? Let's find out. The movie begins with a newsy montage. This is very reminiscent of the early 2000s Dawn of the Dead and does a good job of describing our bug guy's reign of terror. Oh hey Arkin, hope you're in this movie. Eventually we're introduced to Elena, that's Elena, and her dad, Shooter McGavin. The two were in a terrible car accident when Elena was a child, resulting in her partial deafness and incredible wealth thanks to Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer. Elena's decided to head to the club with her friends Missy, that's Missy, and Josh, that's Josh. I hope we get lots of movie of them. The three are headed to a super secret badass club on the rough side of town. You can tell it's badass because it needs a password.
Nevermore.
Very cool. After the lead singer of Ministry lets them inside and a DJ fans herself with a vinyl record, seriously? Elena spots her boyfriend macking on a different girl. Get dunked, Brian, gaw! Elena heads to the bathroom to cry it out, not noticing a tripwire in the hall. What she does notice is a big old steamer trunk. That's odd for a bathroom, less odd for a bathroom in a club. But what's in the box?
What's in the box?
Hey, it's Arkin! You remember Arkin, though I don't remember Crossbow Bolt. The Crossbow Bolt sends us down a spiraling ventilated montage of pulleys, eyelets, bolts, and steel cable, and I broke it all down for you. The Crossbow Bolt appears rather beaten, possibly handmade or at least altered. We're still going to charge for a pack of them though. Next, the crossbow itself, not a kid's toy, as well as whatever triggering mechanism allowed it to fire once the trunk was opened. The crossbow is also braced into the vent, so we need to account for that. Speaking of vents, in total I count 15 pulleys, 15 areas of hardware mounting for springs, bolts, etc., and 4 eyelets through which that steel cable is threaded. I'll also account for 100 feet of steel cable. When that crossbow bolt fires, the steel cable pulls a spring lock lever that activates, is that a boiler? An elevator motor? A few things start to happen when that motor revs up. The steam power appears to power the warehouse door as well as that door leading outside. I guess we can also charge for that remote that Rivethead had. Above the club, a combine harvester reel begins to spin up and, well, all of this leads up to what I affectionately call Harvest Day. So here's what I think is happening inside the building. I think this is an old warehouse, possibly some sort of converted manufactory. We're definitely in the late 19th century, early 20th century side of town, and I think what's powering this mechanical shenanigan nonsense is an old boiler and steam-powered motor in the bowels of the building. There's a few things that key me into this. First is that this sort of building would have the pre-built infrastructure to support a harvester combine large enough to sweep a room, especially if it's a manufactory. Second, in the scene with the lowering ceiling, we can see Spider-Man utilizing a lever to activate various functions, including, drumroll, an elevator. Yeah, that ceiling lowering in the cage, that's the floor of an elevator bearing down on those would-be club kids. Now, I'm not here to convince you that the combine harvester reel is a pre-existing structure to this building, nor will I accept that the mechanism that propels the combine forward through the room is pre-existing either. So, we'll charge for the combine and the crane system to carry it across the room. In the hallway outside Elena's bathroom, a few escapees are shocked to discover another booby trap. Katanas! While we were watching Saw the anime, Spider-Man was studying the blade. In the midst of all this chaos, Arkin frees himself from the trunk and uses Elena's boyfriend as a shield to extract himself from the building. Now that's what I call clever cadaver use. Arkin totally promises to come back and rescue Elena.
Up! Don't leave me here!
We'll come back for you!
You bastards!
And we're taken to the hospital, where Arkin is recovering in the loving arms of his wife Lisa. You remember Lisa? Oh, I guess because Arkin got collectored, his daughter couldn't pay off the debt. Ooh, R.I.P. in peace, Cindy. Also, don't drink and drive. Looks like someone else wanted to check in on Arkin as well. You see, guys, it's the thought that counts. Later that night, Arkin is visited by a suit with a problem to solve. Lucello, that's Lucello, represents Elena's dad, and he's very invested in recovering his daughter. Seeing as how Arkin is the only person to have escaped the Collector so far, they deemed it appropriate to hire the Orkin man to solve their bug guy problem.
What makes you think you're gonna find this guy when the cops can't?
Because I am willing to do things they won't. I've assembled a team and we are going to find him and kill him.
Arkin agrees wholeheartedly.
What's the plan?
Okay, so if the Collector was alien, I guess the collection is aliens, which means we better be seeing some clones, hybrids, and prison planets in the Collect 3D. But how will they find their bug? Arkin brought directions. Is that MapQuest?
You follow my instructions, I'll take you right to where he took me. Right?
Eventually, they arrive at the Collector's menagerie. Of course, the old abandoned Hotel Argento! Makes perfect sense. Now that we know where we are, let's check in on Elena. Okay, she's in a box, that makes sense. And there's someone in the room with her. Ooh, okay, we've got chains, a straitjacket, a collar. He's laying on a dressing table. It looks like the Collector is using a totally medical grade staple gun to staple a face on him. Gross! Elena gets crafty and goes strapless, breaking out of her box. All right, let's see what we got here. Very clinical room for a hotel. Did hotels have morgues and hospitals built into them? Maybe? All right, cool. Scanning the dissection room, we've got embalming fluid, various chemistry supplies, a portable wash station, surgical lamps, a lot of surgical lamps, a door enhanced with 3 deadbolts, and that's a new doorknob. Let's see, there's an embalming system, an immobile cadaver table, that is not cheap, and are those security spiders? How the hell am I supposed to charge for a security spider army? Fine, okay. We'll just charge for spiders, I guess. Weirdo. I count, what, 6? 6 spiders? Sure. Outside, Arkin has successfully unlocked the back door and triggered the very loud alarm. Master Thief strikes again, and he gets to lead the team.
Watch your back in there. It's built like a maze and the whole place is rigged.
That's why you're leading us in.
Arkin is very happy about this opportunity and thanks everyone involved. Back inside, the Collector totters off to his surveillance room to see what's shaken. That's a cute little danger office. We've got that alarm system going off. Looks like it's mostly tied to a big red button. There's 3 security cameras watching the team enter the building, as well as a small mobile security monitor? All right, that's neat. We get a decent view of this security desk later in the film as well, so spoiler-free version of this whole setup is thus. We've got a desktop PC, likely for running the security system, 3 CRT monitors to go with, a hi-fi CRT VTR component rack, that's unnecessary, a voltmeter, an oscilloscope, okay, and a gumdrop light. No charge for the gramophone. The crew are making their way inside, and the Collector is officially suited up. Lynn, that's Lynn, is left to guard the door while the rest of the gang make their way into the boiler room basement. Man, that is a lot of bug zappers. Oh my god, I mean a lot. Take my word for it. I counted probably close to 30 or so lanterns. You know, I don't think the Collector actually likes bugs, you guys. Lots of cagey stuff down here too. I guess we could charge for that. Outside, Lynn, you remember Lynn, gets dunked on by Spider-Man wielding two of those classic buck knives. Those things just keep popping up. Speaking of popping up, a zombie. Oh, glad that's another zombie.
It's like a zombie. He's not a zombie.
Well, what is it? In a twist, the Collector is a huge fan of House of a Thousand Corpses, especially the part with all the drugged up zombified victims. Gross. I count a master lock, a shackle, 8 straitjackets, approximately, 2 more shackles, another master lock, another straitjacket, and, guess we have to charge for drugs now. Okay, so let's roll through some gross math. We saw a bunch of syringes on the floor when we entered the basement, and we've got a decent cast of nearly dead victims here hopped up on God knows what. Well, I talked to God and we determined it's either heroin or meth. Maybe both. I checked out the average cost of heroin and meth, bulk street prices, for the year 2011 and determined that he'd need to keep them drugged up for at least a month straight with around a gram per day per person. And adjusting for some street flow prices, landing on just under $10,000 in drugs. I need a shower. Elena also probably needs a shower, as she's snuck out of the dissection room and into a makeup studio? Sure, let's charge for some makeup. The walls and... is that soap? Ooh, that's a lot of soap. Bill the soap! Elena frees Abby, that's Abby, and the two creep out of her creepy little room. Abby's super chill about it.
Oh, no. We can't leave this room. No.
Abby,
no, we can't just go.
We can get out of here, okay?
Out in the hallways, the team stumbles upon 2 more trunks, and you know what? You may have noticed, but I've decided I'm not charging for the trunks at all. In fact, take back the charge for the last movie. This guy's working out of an abandoned hotel. Old hotels have old furniture and luggage, so free death boxes, hooray! To celebrate, offers them a gift. He didn't make it though. I think he might have bought it.
What didn't you make?
The collection. I need a Leo! Get back!
Oh, the gift is a pipe bomb. Cool! And it triggers an Indiana Jones style stealing spike trap. The spikes impale Dre. You remember Dre, don't you? And we leave him kebabbed in the hall. In the chaos, Arkin slinks away down a hallway ripped straight out of the Chokey from Matilda? Well, no charge for this, just seeing if anybody wants me to cover Matilda. Everyone wants me to cover Matilda? Be sure to subscribe so you can see me cover Matilda. Arkin eventually makes his way to, what, an office? Alright. It's here we get our first glimpse of the Collector's credentials. He's a certified entomologist. We could actually see his diploma in the opening credits. Neat. Well, normally I wouldn't do this, but he's showing off his certificate right there in his awful Wonka factory of pain, so I guess we have to charge for that. While there isn't a certificate of merit in entomology, being certified means going through extra exams and paying for those exams, and this level of certification generally costs $395. Back in the halls, Elena almost stumbles upon a tripwire holding up a bear trap with a machete bungee corded to it, or what I call the tripwire bear trap machete bungee cord trap. A classic TBMBMCT, very popular with trap enthusiasts. Elena's hearing aid bugs out, and Abby bugs out, and all hell starts breaking loose again. Elena leaps over another tripwire, this one connected to a ceiling claw trap. The Collector pursues, but Elena gives him the slip. Yeah, this is so Aliens. Are you seriously? Out in the hallway, Arkin reaches for what I call the Katanob trap, which is a doorknob that's been replaced with the end of a katana. Maybe it's a shorter blade. I don't know. I already told you, I didn't study the blade! He did. Anyway, Arkin falls back into the basement, spots some gasoline, then hoists himself back up. Arkin digivolves into his diehard mode and makes his way into the specimen hall. Elena, meanwhile, flings her hearing aid onto a bear trap in a narrow hallway filled with many bear traps. I call this the bear trap hallway trap. There are 5 bear traps. Back in the specimen hall, Did we just step into a different horror movie? Was it Silent Hill? Human Centipede? Whatever it is, we're gonna have to wait to charge for any of this because first we've got the wall mount. Yeah, so this unfortunate victim has been mounted to a wall. She's also being fed with at least 6 IV bags full of vitamins and iron supplements. Apparently, the yellow ones are called banana bags. Fun fact, in 2011, there was a shortage of basic medications, leading to a skyrocket in price for what would normally be very affordable generics. As such, IV bags like this were in short supply, meaning their cost was astronomical compared even to today's prices. Good job on somehow threading the needle on an even more expensive trap than usual, Spider-Man. John Collect-ATHON collects her soul from her body and leaves. Arkin gets to work trying to pick the lock of a very reinforced door, making his way to an art gallery? Where do you even start with? Is this a trap? Is this decor? Is this something he made? Did he buy this? Before I even have time to wrap my head around it, a new trap is sprung. Wally, you remember Wally, knocks the crap out of Arkin, leveling him to the floor. Evidently, the goal was to keep the group together. What follows, I affectionately call Gone Fishin'. Arkin watches the Collector high above Spider-Man his way down into the room. Using a hook to hook Wally, bye Wally, the Collector tosses a bolo at Paz, then carabines her to a fucking rail system, slinging her down a hallway. He scoops up Wally's rifle and Phantom of the Opera's his way back into the catwalks. Gotta be kidding me. Paz has been taken behind a heavily secured door that sealed itself shut, and Arkin is again alone with Lucello. Except no they aren't, because Abby is here to help!
I know where she is. You gotta get me out of here.
Abby leads them to where Elena is held, but Lucello has other plans. He can hear Paz complaining down the hall, and as her manager, is legally obligated to figure out if it's something he needs to deal with. This is what happens when you're second key at the store, Lucello. Lucello decides that Paz is probably fine, but Arkin disagrees.
You're just gonna let Paz die? My objective is Elena. Your objective, can't you hear that?
Wait, so it's cool to abandon the deaf girl twice, but Paz needs to be saved? All right, Arkin, this rescue plan better not blow up in your face. They make their way to a room full of way too many mannequins, when the heavily reinforced door slams shut behind them. Lucello suggests Arkin and Abby chill back here while he checks things out ahead. Go get him, Fred. Also, no charge for the cursed mannequins. I don't charge for mannequins. Never have, never will. It's revealed that Paz's screams aren't coming from this mannequin hall at all, but instead are being broadcast from a bookshelf speaker. I think I own that. Elena, meanwhile, has located the real Paz, wrapped up in what I can only describe as a big freaking net covered in razor blades. Also, there are razor blades hanging in the room from Fishline, and an old PA microphone nearby to broadcast everything. Arkin seems to have figured out that something strange is afoot, what with the mysterious cable running next to his foot. Lucello finally notices the bomb that's been placed by the cockroach assistant and turns to hightail it out of there, pursued by exploding mannequins. I never got an accurate count of mannequins, and I'm not sure if all of them blow up, but I did count 20 explosions in total, so we'll tally that up here. Those anarchist cockroaches will be the death of us all. Abby is back on tour guide duty.
That way.
And we're very quickly reunited with Elena and Paz. Hey girl, you remember Arkin, yeah? Totally here to save you now. Definitely here for you. Elena is more jazzed to see her actual bodyguard Lucello, which, yeah, that makes sense. But she's not jazzed to see Abby. The gang return to the room with a view of our economy at work and fashion a plan. Arkin shoots one of the gentlemen in the leg, Dick.
Did you just shoot somebody?
Shots fired attracts attention. Sorry, dude.
Spider-Man returns to his secret lair and watches from 2 new angles as, wow, that ambulance got there fast. What is this, the White House? Arkin then shoots at the view of our healthcare system, and Spider-Man grabs Wally's rifle to finish this before it escalates any further. Also, we can charge for his little cabinet of weaponry. I see what might be a K-bar knife and... is that a flail? Really? A flail? Uh-huh. Abby takes the opportunity to lock everyone in the room, screaming their location into into the doll camera. This movie is becoming more inexplicable by the scene, and I love it. Paz punches Abby straight into an Iron Maiden trap on rails. What the heck? Pistons, springs, hinges, metal, rail, and the weird spike pressure plate trigger. Bonkers! Suddenly, 2 more doors appear in the room as the Collector kicks his way in, flanked by 2 trained German shepherds. Now, I was informed on the last Collector video that I severely undercharged for trained biting German shepherds, and I will rectify those prices here. Now, while I don't exactly understand the shape of the room they're in, I can appreciate just how cool this scene is. I cannot wait until they clone the Collector for the 4th installment, The Collective. The gang successfully disabled by puppy cuddles. Oh wow, those German shepherds escaped out the same window from the first house. No way, that's crazy. The Collector collects Elena again, and the doors shut automatically behind him. But Lucello can't pursue. He's triggered another trap. This time, a ceiling claw trap. It looks like the same as the Iron Maiden trap, but without the rail and with some chain. Looks like it's up to Paz and Arkin to save Elena now. The 2 leave, politely closing the door so they don't have to watch Lucello die. With SWAT now arriving on scene, what's a Collector to do? Sacrifice Elena to Grognak, I guess. But in truth, it is another trap! A cage descends from the ceiling, trapping everyone inside. Everyone except Spider-Man! It looks like Arkin's gloats don't tempt him this time around. Spider-Man knows the jig is up and officially threatens the 3 of them with a good time. Those 4 drums of ethanol are poised to blow as the Collector lights the end of what might be the longest wick outside of a Looney Tunes short. What in the Wile E. Coyote is this nonsense? Also, that very old cauldron is smoking, so I guess maybe he intended to pour dry ice on Elena? Charge for dry ice, I suppose. The Collector shadow boxes some more gasoline all over his workshops, as Arkin realizes the only way to get their cage door open is to re-break his arm.
I need you to step on my forearm. I need you to re-break it.
To which Elena obliges rather quickly. Hey, it works! Neat! Paz fixes his arm, and the 3 make their way to the exit. A pair of very incredibly large reinforced doors as the Collector is burning down his security office. He even set fire as the screensaver. That's cool. The hotel is officially up in flames, and the gang are now into the menagerie. Oh my god, and Paz is dead! Damn! Spider-Man tosses Arkin all over the place. But what's this? Lucello is back and ready to fight! The 2 duke it out, taking jabs and slices at each other. Lucello takes a knife to the gut, but it gives Arkin the opportunity to get the Collector in the leg. Elena sees the exit as Arkin begins to take his revenge for weeks of torment. Arkin beats him to the dumbwaiter, forcing him to look him in the eye. He shoves him in and lights a scrap of his shirt. And man, does he light that bug's nest up! But the menagerie is ablaze, and Arkin doesn't have much left in him. He contents himself to his fate. He saved Elena. Definitely didn't save Paz. He killed the Collector. It was worth it. There's no way to put out the fire, and so his story comes to an end. After all, those 6 tanks are preservation tanks, as you can see by the preserved specimens inside, and there's no way they'd be full of non-flammable. Well, hang on. No, there's no way those tanks should be putting out the fire. First of all, let's go ahead and charge for those tanks. I estimate them to be approximately 470 gallons in size. That's about $7,000 a piece, so $42,000 respectively. But that fluid, that damn fluid. Let me fill you guys in on something. I did a lot of research for this video, especially regarding taxidermy, preservation, mortuary arts, because the Collector has been following those steps very carefully in every other part of this sequence. Those tanks should not be putting out that fire. You see? The primary preservative fluid you suspend a specimen in is typically a mixture of some kind of alcohol and water. Ethanol, isopropyl alcohol, either of these work. You don't store specimens, especially large, meaty specimens, in just water. Water does not prevent decay, and these specimens are quite well preserved. What should be happening when Elena busts those tanks is the room explodes with more fire. Actually, the room should already just be exploded, but it doesn't, which means that one of 2 things is happening. Either A, the collector was very careful with his specimen preservation system up until the moment of displaying them and decided, yeah, I'll just turn them into soup, that's fine. Or B, that fluid isn't water, but a non-flammable preservative. So, I did some research and asked around. It turns out there is a preservative fluid that can operate similarly to isopropyl alcohol without the flammability index of isopropyl alcohol. It's called, and I apologize, phenoxyethanol, and it's about $89.10 per liter. But Kitten Arcader, you ask, couldn't he just take it from his job? Are all of you stealing from work? Yeah, his job is an entomologist, but that doesn't mean we see where he's employed. Also, he's got 6 470-gallon tanks. That's 2,820 gallons of phenoxyethanol. He's not sneaking that out of a university. I mean, geez, he needs to have the proper credentials just to purchase that. And so purchase it, he does. At $89.10 per liter, 2,820 gallons. That's 10,675 liters. At $89.10 per liter, that comes out to $951,142.50. I'm sorry, maybe you didn't hear that. $951,142.50. Also, he could burn down his hotel in an emergency, but keep his menagerie as a backup fire extinguisher, which Elena is currently using to rescue Arkin. Outside, the two are looked after. Shooter McGavin gives Arkin the nod, I think, and Arkin goes to check on the bodies. Only the mask remains, eh? Looks like this movie is headed for a 3rd installment. But what's this? A quaint home in the burbs? Antique furniture? Flip knife? Hey, I recognize that trunk.
In a 200-mile radius from where we last saw each other, there are 14 licensed entomologists. And you were number 12.
Arkin collects the collector. The movie ends with a montage of Arkin hunting the collector in that Batman's surveillance lair? I'm not billing for that. So, did the collector overstay his bill at a luxury hotel of pain? Or did he sweep his debts under the rug like so many cockroach anarchists? Let's find out. In total, John the Spider-Man collection spent approximately $1,111,451.23 in 2011. Adjusting for inflation, that's around $1,557,940.97. You could buy basically anything you want with that, including a home in San Francisco, but you wouldn't be able to buy much else if you did. Enjoy the Bay Area, I guess. Now to the question everyone's wondering, can he afford it? Well, I've got great news. Through my research, I was able to determine the annual salary of a licensed, certified, very good boy entomologist in the United States in 2011. And you'll be happy to know his salary would be around $87,893 pre-taxes. That's closer to $65,000 after taxes. So, no, he can't afford it on his salary alone. But what about the ruby? I hear you cry from the rooftops. Well, I asked around and determined the approximate carat and cut of that ruby from the first film. And I again have amazing news. It could have been worth up to $150,000. But since it's being sold on the black market, you can expect it to actually sell for closer to $75,000. Yeah, turns out the black market is cheaper than the day market, and you'll still need to process the rock to make it sellable into jewelry to justify its value. Womp womp. So, can the collector foot the bill for the collection? Absolutely not. Even without the insane non-flammable preservative, he's still packing a bill of more than $160,000. So, unless it's revealed that he's one of John's other nephews in the Collect 3D, the collector cannot foot the bill. But what do you think? You think he's moonlighting as a jewel thief entomologist to pay for his hobbies? You think he's trained spiders and cockroaches to steal art and gems from museums to flip on the black market? Let me know down below your theories. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has a YouTube membership, a Patreon membership. You do a lot to help out the channel and make it so that I can almost do this full time. We're creeping on some very big milestones for the channel. Extra special thank you to Carrie for becoming a member of the Feet tier. No feet pics with that tier yet, but you do get to hear me shout out your internet name in the credits. I also want to say that joining the Patreon or YouTube membership isn't a requirement. Videos will always find their way to YouTube, or if complications arise, they'll come to Patreon for everyone to watch. And just watching the videos, sharing them with friends, and coming back for new releases does so much for the channel. We're going to be covering some long requested movies in the coming weeks, but bear with me if my schedule seems a bit weird. Some projects in the works that I hope I'll get to share with you soon have taken up some of my time. We're also slowly fixing the captions on all the videos, so they'll play out much better for anyone in need of an on-screen textual aid. To the hard of hearing community, I hear you, and I'm here for you. As always, thank you so much for coming with us on this ride. Thank you to my wife, Annalise, for editing these videos and tackling those captions. She does a much better job than I could. Thank you to my friends and my experts for putting up with strange questions in the middle of the night, and thank you to each and every one of you for sticking around. You're the heart and soul of this channel. After all, I'm here to make stuff. You're here to watch.